Good morning, dear students. Today's class is Flamingo, our second poem, that is an elementary school classroom in a slum by Stephen Spender. You can write and learn the name also by Stephen Spender. Right? Okay. Am I audible, Pragya?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Right? So let's start. Stephen Spender, 1909 to 1955, was an English poet and an essayist. He left University College, Oxford without taking a degree and went to Berlin in 1930. Spender took a keen interest in politics and declared himself to be a socialist and pacifist. Books by Spender include poems on dedication, the edge of being, the creative element, the struggle of the modern, and an autobiography, World Within World. In an elementary school classroom in a slum, he has concentrated on the themes of social injustice and class inequalities. Please underline this line and let me share the screen for the online students. I hope you can see the screen. Yes. Okay. Now, let me make a model reading for you all. Far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky air of twisted bones reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in a tree room. Other than this, on sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, belled, flowery, Tyrolese valley, open-handed map awarding the world its world, and yet for these children these windows, and not this map their world, where all their future is painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map is a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal for lives that slyly turn into in their cramped holes. From fog to endless night, there is a question mark after this, if you notice. On this slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stones. All their time and space are foggy slum. So blot their maps with slums as big as doom. What are dooms? Ruins. Okay? Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break, open till they break the town, and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on the golden sands, and let their tongues run naked into books. The the white and green leaves open. History dares whose language is the sun. Now, when I have made this um, model reading for you, or a little bit reading from the first stanza, you can see that, like some one or two points we are able to understand, but most of the things we need to put in our efforts. So let's go to the first stanza. Okay, the first stanza is, I'm reading again, far from gusty waves, far from gusty waves, far from fast blowing waves, fast coming waves, fast moving waves, these children's faces like rootless weeds. Far from these waves, these slum children. Every time, keep in your mind, we are talking about the slum children, those who are studying in elementary school. Elementary school, classroom it is, which is not like your classroom with fans, with lights, with sunshine, with lot of energy coming in, right? Okay. So far from gusty waves, far from these moving, energetic waves, far from these waves, these children's faces are like rootless weeds. They are like rootless weeds. Whose faces are like rootless weeds? What are rootless weeds? Unwanted plants. Weeds are unwanted plants. So these these children are like rootless weeds. Simile. And the hair torn round the pallor, their hair scattered round their pale faces, paleness, pallor, paleness. There are four children mentioned in the first stanza. The first child, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the girl whose head is weighed down. Why the girl's head is weighed down? Why is she looking like that? Dull, head down and all. Her head is down, right? Looking down, desperate. Even not desperate, then why that troublesome look, right? The girl with her weighed down head because of poverty. Okay, the paper seeming boy with the rat's eyes, the second child, the paper seeming boy, the thin boy with rat's eyes. His eyes look like a rat's eyes, look like rat's eyes. Why? Because all the time his eyes showed hunger. All the time his eyes showed that hunger, that want, maybe of food, maybe of eatables, because malnourished child, thin and lean, the paper seeming boy, the paper seeming boy, the thin boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky air of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. Please underline these words: gusty, pallor, rootless, weeds, stunted, unlucky air of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. The third child, there is a boy with deformities, the stunted boy who is called unlucky by the poet. He is unlucky because he is stunted. His body is deformed. He is not that way physically fit as other children. He's full of deformities. Deformities, I hope you understand. Twisted bones, hands turned on, or some problem is there, which is being reflected from his postures and expressions and the way he is there in the class. He's an unlucky heir of twisted bones. The term twisted bones tells us those deformities. His bones are twisted, and he's an unlucky heir, unlucky receiver of this disease from his father or mother. Father is mentioned, right? Unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. Underline gnarled disease. And write down the meaning, naughty, K-N-O-T-T-Y. Repeated, from one generation to another, right? And he's repeating that disease, okay? His hereditary disease, which is being passed on from one generation to another, right? One unnoted, sweet and young, and at the back of the dim class. Let me repeat: the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's null disease, his lesson from his desk. The third child, the fourth one, at the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in a tree room. Other than this means other than these three children, there is a child who is a dreamer, who is living in dreams. Okay. So now if you pay attention, dear students, please see that again we move on to the first stanza. Far from gusty waves these children's faces are. Far from gusty waves these children's faces are. Like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor. Right? They don't look like you. There's a lot of paleness on their faces. Their hair are torn. Their looks are torn. The girl is sitting tall girl with her weighed down head. There is a paper seeming boy, a thin and lean boy. Poverty stricken children attending an elementary school classroom in a slum. Have you understood the first part? Okay. Then there is a stunted, unlucky boy of twisted bones. He is an heir. Heir means heiresses. We all are heirs and heiresses of our father's properties and belongings and things. So what he has got as his belonging, what he has received from his father, money, property, lands, houses. No, he has received that disease. He has received that poverty. So he is unlucky, stunted heir of twisted. What he has received? Twisted bones. This was the problem of his father also, and this was the problem of his forefathers, maybe that were passed on to, right? So this way, he is an unlucky heir. Now I'm sharing the screen again. Can you see the screen, dear all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On sour cream walls, donations. Now the description of the classroom. The first stanza, description of the children. The second stanza, the description of classroom. On sour cream walls, donations. The classroom walls are quite cream in color. That means they have not been painted. They are unpolished walls. They are unkempt walls. The slum school is an uncared, unkempt school. Nobody is there to take care for the maintenance. What type of school will be in a slum, children? Right? So on sour cream walls, there are donations. Donations, somebody has donated a calendar, somebody has donated a picture, somebody donates something. So all those things are hung. And what are those? Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn. On sour cream walls, there are donations. Shakespeare's head. There is a picture of Shakespeare. Now Shakespeare's head, that means only the upper part, not the full, portrait or full beautiful picture. Only the head or the face part you can say, right? Cloudless at dawn. And the backdrop of the picture is cloudlessness, no clouds, right? Morning time at dawn. So the picture symbolizing brightness, dawn, morning, sunshine. But if we see the ironical part in the lives of the children's lives are quite bleak, dark, full of problems, full of poverty, full of troubles, right? So this contrast you can keep in mind. Shakespeare's head cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, and there are pictures that show the progress of civilization, maybe some buildings, some symbolizing some civilization, right? Riding all cities, some pictures with progress showing in them, right? Buildings and from villages to the transformations of cities and some sort of, and also belled, flowery Tyrolese Valley, which is a symbol of nature. This is an Austrian valley. The glossary, the meaning is given. Austrian valley, which is beautiful for its variety of colors. So belled, flowery Tyrolese Valley. And there is an open-handed map awarding the world its world. There can be 2-3 questions framed on this, dear students. Please pay attention. Open-handed map awarding the world its world. right? Open-handed map awarding the world its world. What do we mean by this phrase? The phrase tells us that there is an open-handed map in the class, right? And this map is capable or is enough to award the world its world. But where is the world of the slum children? There is no place, no boundaries in the map for the slum children. We have our world. Any other place has a place in the world, right? But not these children. And yet, for these children, these windows and not this map, their world, where their future is painted with a fog. How is their future painted? And yet, again, I'm repeating, for these children, not these maps, but the real windows, the windows from where the sunshine can enter, is their real world, right? They have cramped holes, their houses, they have cramped classrooms, they have their world, a cramped world, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. Underline stars of words, which symbolizes literature, and stars of words, words like stars, right? So there is no literature, there are no windows, right? Unkempt walls, unpolished walls, with few donations, Shakespeare's head, civilization, pictures showing domes, where how we have progressed, right? Some domes of symbol, which are the symbol that we have civilized, we have moved further, we have progressed, right? And there is a valley, flowery Tyrolese valley. There is an open-handed map awarding the world its world, telling the world where your place is, but is not enough to tell the slum children where their world lies. Right, dear students? And their world, their future is painted with a fog. There is a narrow street where they live, sorry, and their sky is a lead sky. What is the color of this lead? Grayish, blackish, dark. So their sky is not a blue sky, azure sky like us. It is a dark, gray, cloudy sky. Their life is like this. So lead sky, far from rivers, highlands, capes, and stars of words. Far from learning, far from literature, far from nature, right? So this way we complete with two stanzas of this, right? Shall we move on to the third one? Right? Okay. Surely Shakespeare is wicked. The third stanza, surely Shakespeare is a bad example. He's not a good example. The picture of the Shakespeare and the map is a bad example, right? With ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. All these pictures which have been donated are showing them lot of things which they want to steal, right? Which they want in their lives, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes. These children's lives are the lives that are born in their holes, in slums, and they die in those holes, slyly turn in their cramped holes, slyly, secretly. They are born secretly, no one comes to know about them, no one comes to know how they grow, right? No identity, nothing. And what happens? They slyly pass their lives from fog to endless night. Endless night here means death, right? The whole journey is foggy, and one fine day it ends into endless night. Why endless night? Because that particular night is not going to end. Their poverty is not going to end. They are not going to come, they will not be able to come out of this world. On the slag heap, these children where skins peep through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass. On these slag heaps, on the heaps of garbage, these children live, and these children's skins are so without flesh, so without nutrition, that their bones look out of them. They are so thin and lean that their bones, how they peep through their skins. Can you understand this? Have you understood what I'm trying to say? That their bones are so visible as if they are looking out of the skin, right? So the idea behind this is that they are very thin and lean, malnourished children. No nutrition in their life, okay? So with mended glass and spectacles of steel, I'm repeating this line. On the slag heap, these children wear skins peep through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass. They wear anything that they find in the, on the slag heap, in the garbage. They lead them, they live a miserable life. The meaning of spectacles of steel and mended glass is here. It doesn't mean that all the children are wearing spectacles and they are broken and mended ones. This means whatever they get from anywhere, they just pick it up and they wear it. Right? Fine. And their lives are quite miserable, like bottle bits on stones. If you throw a bottle on a stone and if it turns glass bottle into bits, you cannot gather it. Their lives are like those bottle bits on stones. Simile. Underline and write simile. There are other figures of speech also, which we will share in the next class. All their time and space are foggy slum. They have nothing in their life. Their time passes in this foggy slum. They don't have any space. All what they have in terms of time and space is this foggy slum. So blot their maps with slum as big as a dome. So mark their slums, right? Mark their slums in the map with big spots of ruins, doom, ruins, because there is no prosperity, no growing, no learning, nothing there is happening. Okay. I hope you have understood, dear children, these points. We will be discussing again, right? All the students, those who are attending online, I hope they are able to understand. Yes, dear students, very good, very good. Right? Thank you. We'll continue this class. Okay. God bless you all.